Ever designed something that looked amazing but just didn't work? Users getting lost, buttons ignored, conversions down? Yeah, I've been there. But over the years, I've refined my UX design workflow to make sure that never happens. In this video, I'll walk you through my complete process, how I research, design, test, and iterate to create products that actually work. I'll also share with you the tools I use to bring it all together. Let's dive in. When it comes to UX design workflows, there is no shortage of methods and frameworks. It can feel like everyone's selling their own magic formula. But through all the trends and buzzwords, I keep coming back to design thinking, not because it's perfect, but because it's flexible enough to adapt to almost any project. At its core, design thinking has 5 stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. But here is the thing, these stages aren't always linear, and you don't need to spend equal time on each one. Let's go through them one by one. Stage 1. Empathize. The empathize stage is about gathering insights directly from your users to understand their needs, behaviors, and pain points. It forms the foundation of user-centered design by establishing empathy with the people you're designing for. During this stage, you'll want to run several user interviews to learn more about your users and their challenges. And the biggest myth in UX design is that thorough user research requires massive budgets and months of time. It doesn't. No matter your budget, you can always find a way to conduct user research efficiently. For instance, last year, I worked on an e-commerce app with a particularly tight budget. Here is what I did. I used Listna as my primary research platform. I've tried just about every research tool out there, but Listna has become my go-to for a few practical reasons that I go through in this video. Here is how to set up interviews in Listna. First, click the interview button right here. Here you can name your study something simple and clear. Next, you should write a short description that explains what the interview is for. This helps everyone understand the purpose of the conversation. You'll also need to enter some basic details like the interview duration and the type of device participants should use. Once you've configured these settings, you can hit Recruit Participants. This brings you to one of Listna's most powerful features, participant recruitment. You'll have 2 options to choose from. You can either recruit participants from Listna's panel or recruit them yourself. Personally, I'd recommend using the Listna panel because it's remarkably fast to find the right participants for your interviews. They have over 690,000 panelists worldwide. The real game changer with Listna has been this streamlined recruitment process. For years, I'd been piecing together participants through social media, client contacts, and paid services, which was slow, expensive, and often resulted in low quality feedback. With Listna, I specifically needed participants who were regular online shoppers between 25 and 45 who had purchased beauty and personal care products at least once in the past month. I filtered for exactly these criteria and had 10 qualified interview participants scheduled within a few days instead of the weeks it would have taken me previously, all at an affordable price. You can define your target audience by specifying the number of participants, demographics, age range, education level, job type, and other relevant criteria. This step is absolutely crucial because defining the right audience is key to getting the most valuable results. You will then see the estimated completion time displayed. Yes, it really is that fast. And you can submit your order. For early stage research, you can also create simple surveys to gather broad feedback about user needs and pain points. These initial insights are invaluable for guiding the rest of your design process. Stage 2. Define. With user insights in hand, we move to the define stage, where we figure out what problem we are actually solving. This is where I see so many projects derail. The key shift I've made recently is focusing on user-centered problem statements rather than business-centered ones. Compare these 2 approaches. How might we increase conversion rate by 15% versus how might we help first-time homebuyers feel confident when comparing mortgage options? The second one connects directly to a human need, which ultimately drives better solutions and ironically, better business results too. I personally use a collaborative approach with stakeholders for problem definition. We use a simple fig Jamboard with 3 sections: user needs, business goals, and technical constraints. Where these 3 circles overlap, that's our sweet spot for the problem statement. One simple practice that's made a huge difference is that I print out the final problem statement and keep it visible throughout the entire project. It's amazing how often we drift off course without even realizing it. Stage 3. Ideate. With a clear problem statement, we can now explore potential solutions. This is where the magic happens, but only if you create the right conditions for creativity. Instead of endless brainstorming sessions that often lead nowhere, I now use structured ideation techniques such as Crazy Eights, where everyone sketches 8 ideas in 8 minutes. The time pressure eliminates overthinking and forces creativity. Or reverse thinking. Instead of asking, how might we solve X, we ask, how might we make X worse? This technique breaks mental blocks surprisingly well. Stage 4. Prototype. With our best ideas selected, we move to prototyping, turning concepts into something tangible that users can interact with. The biggest mistake I see designers make is spending too long perfecting prototypes. A prototype isn't a finished product, it's a learning tool. I built most of my prototypes in Figma, focusing on mid-fidelity wireframes that communicate the core experience without getting bogged down in visual polish. My rule of thumb is, if a prototype takes more than a day to build, it's probably too detailed. Ask yourself, what's the minimum I need to build to test my core assumptions? Then build exactly that and nothing more. Stage 5. Testing and iterations. The test stage is where ideas meet reality. It's all about putting prototypes in front of real users to validate solutions, uncover friction points, and refine designs based on actual behavior, not just assumptions. Let me walk you through how incredibly easy it is to set up prototype tests on Listener. Imagine you've designed a website in Figma with a checkout process, and you want to observe how users navigate through it. If you've already created an interactive prototype in Figma, you can simply head over to Listener and hit Create a Test. You'll need to give your test a name, specify the language, choose what type of device the test will be performed on, and select Prototype Test. From there, you can add instructions to let participants know exactly what task they should complete. Next, you'll paste your Figma prototype link and choose your goal screen, essentially the destination you want users to reach. You can also ask participants a few follow-up questions at this stage. Before you hit save and continue and go through the recruitment process, I'd recommend clicking on record here and enabling 2 important options, Think Aloud and Screen. What do these do? The Think Aloud feature asks participants to verbalize their thoughts while completing the task, while the screen option captures all of their interactions with your prototype. This is incredibly helpful because you can actually see how users interact with your project. These recording features aren't just nice to have, they are essential. In my e-commerce project, the recorded footage revealed something fascinating that would have been impossible to spot in the metrics alone. While users were successfully completing the checkout flow, the recordings showed them hesitating for 5 to 7 seconds when reaching the shipping options, often scrolling up and down several times before proceeding. During the Think Aloud portion, multiple participants mentioned uncertainty about whether the delivery dates were guaranteed or estimated. This insight led us to redesign that section with a clearer language and visual cues, which not only improved completion rates, but also significantly reduced support tickets about delivery times. When it comes to testing, I run different types of tests in Listener, depending on the project's budget and needs, such as survey questions, where I can ask the users a few simple questions, prototype test, as I just explained, for testing interactive designs before they go live, and preference test, where you can ask participants to choose between different design choices. But one of Listener's most powerful features is their new live website testing. This feature is perfect for testing products that are already published and accessible to users. It's also incredibly useful for competitive analysis, as you can test any public URL without needing any implementation or code changes on the website itself. For example, if you want to understand how users navigate through your competitor's checkout process, or evaluate how your newly launched feature performs with real users, live website testing makes this incredibly simple. You just enter the URL, then define specific tasks for users to complete, just like with prototype testing. You can ask them to find information, complete a purchase flow, or navigate to a particular section of the site, and Listener handles the rest. What makes this especially valuable is that you can compare results directly against your prototype tests. giving you a complete picture of how your designs perform from concept to production. You can identify any discrepancies between the prototype experience and the live implementation, which is often where critical UX issues emerge. The good thing about Listena's insights is that every response is manually reviewed by Listena's QA team, typically within a day. If a participant provides a poor quality response, the user can delete it and a new response will be automatically provided. And it's incredibly fast. This bit has been a game changer. For the e-commerce project, I could run these tests without delaying our project timeline at all. In fact, because I received results within a few hours, I was able to implement changes and have them ready for the next sprint review, rather than pushing design decisions to the next sprint cycle, which saved us nearly 2 weeks in development time. After each round of testing, I create a single page report with 3 sections: what worked, what didn't work, and recommended changes. Here is something most design tutorials won't tell you. This process is messy. Sometimes testing reveals that we defined the wrong problem. Sometimes our favorite ideas fall flat with users. That's not failure, that's learning. The real workflow isn't a neat linear path. It's a series of loops, detours, and occasionally starting over. I find myself constantly moving between these stages as new information emerges. What holds it all together is communication. By following a systematic testing approach, we don't just build designs, we refine them into experiences that truly work for users. If you're new to UI UX design and looking for a clear roadmap to kickstart your design journey this year, you can check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more design tutorials. Have an awesome day and see you soon.